Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling.
Hello and welcome to the Kickoff Preview Edition, as it's the NFL's time to shine in a week, or less than a week or so. And I am not Harry Broadhurst. My name is Sean Garmer. Sadly, Harry couldn't be with us for these because he's feeling a bit under the weather. So we hope that our pal, good friend Harry, is back and ready to go in a few days when everybody is around again to preview week 1 of the season. So if you don't notice by the title, both of these preview shows are going to be the AFC and NFC previews smacked into one episode. But thankfully, I'm not here by myself. The rest of the crew for the Kickoff is here. The chair, the man that makes us all question ourselves every day what we're doing, Mr. Jason Teasley. What's going on?
Wow, I got top billing. You might replace Harry. Just when I laugh. I mean, hell, me getting top billing is an honor. Outside of that, I am good. I am caffeinated. I am somewhat rested, and I'll try to be on my best behavior.
Well, Jason is also the only one not being threatened by a hurricane at the moment, so
fair enough.
Thankfully,
well, you aren't either now.
Yeah, I'm not either, but I'm still going to get something. I still had to help my girlfriend's dad put up wood panels on the windows yesterday before we found out that it was going to move. So, well, I guess they're staying up till Tuesday anyway, or Wednesday. But Erik, who's probably the most at risk right now for something big with the big Hurricane Dorian that's ravaging the Bahamas right now. Heart goes out to all those people over there. That's terrible what they're dealing with. But Erik, you told me you had a bunch of different alcoholic beverages ready. You got anything else ready besides?
Well, since my orders from Wish haven't come in yet, and I may have finally broken down that I'm a little bit too old for some of my shenanigans. Yeah, it's always a bad sign when you pull muscles and you can't sit down for a while.
God. Well, tell your boyfriend to be a little bit more gentle.
Oh, hey, boy.
Okay, something happens when you're in my position and you have my equipment and stamina. You can only do so much over a bathroom sink. Just throw that out there.
Sometimes the size betrays you. All right, so the other resident Giants fan here, and this show wouldn't be great without Brandon. He is here as well. Hopefully, it stays not a big impact for you as well in the hurricane.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad here. The big issue for me is that it's supposed to hit on Thursday afternoon. So if the power goes out, then I'm SOL when it comes to the opener. So wishful thinking that it doesn't hit too badly on Thursday.
Let's hope not. Packers and Bears should be a good game, that one. But, yeah, let's get this thing on the road so we can – this is going to be a long one because we're going to cover both conferences, but we'll see how this goes here. So the AFC South, plenty of news going on since the last time there was a show. Not only do you have the surprising retirement of Andrew Luck for the Indianapolis Colts and the fallout from that, but you also have Jadeveon Clowney getting traded to the Seattle Seahawks, where he's going to do some damage over there. And also the Houston Texans get back in return, not from a different trade, sending 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick for Kenny Stills, which helps their receiving core, and Laremy Tunsil, which I'm sure Deshaun Watson was sitting there going, thank God somebody's going to block for me on that line. How do you guys feel about, I guess I'll go to you, Jason, first. considering what happened in Indianapolis now and who their quarterback is, and now that you finally feel like maybe you can trust a little bit of somebody on that offensive line for Houston, does this skyrocket Houston to winning that division already, or you still got some worries?
Oh no, I mean I was playing Houston as my division winner way before any of the transactions that transpired over this long weekend. But when Lamar Miller went down, it was a blow. But they seemed to recover a little bit, getting Carlos Hyde signed there after the Chiefs let him go. That doesn't answer the running back question long term, which I still see a little sneaky signing that could happen here soon, which we'll talk about later. But I think that everything that Houston's done has only strengthened their ability to win the division. That offense is going to be really good. The only thing that I worry about is they need a legit tight end to help Watson with the little underneath stuff to keep chains moving. They've got the deep threats with Hopkins and Fuller, and even got Kiki in the slot, which is going to help some. But I think they need at least a legitimate, not superstar tight end, but somebody just to be a good hand, to be a little outlet so he doesn't have to run. On the defensive side, that defense, losing Clowney hurts, no doubt, but I don't think that within the division they don't have really that many powerhouse teams to go up against, so they just need a bend but don't break defense. So I like the trades, I like the moves they made, and I just think it's going to be a very interesting season for them.
Well, Erik, I mean, this is obviously the division where your team resides, so, Jacksonville has questions in their own offensive line, but their big signing was a quarterback that's made waves for the Eagles, winning a championship, obviously. Do you worry about him being able to stay healthy, and what happens to Jacksonville if he can't? And do you think the defense could carry him with Josh Allen and everybody else, if so?
As far as the defense carrying us, absolutely. Between Josh Allen really is that key anchor in the middle. We've got fantastic edge rushers in Campbell. Even though he's getting up there, he can still produce. And Yannick Ngakoue, I'm not terribly worried, but I've seen the quarterback performances in the preseason. We need the magic and power that is Big Dick Nick Foles, because if we're turning to Garner Minshew at any point, yeah, the season is done. Just done. Now, hopefully we have everything sorted out in the backfield. It appears like Leonard Fournette is doing well, even though I see that as another running back by committee. I'm just hoping that we can develop a second receiver so that way we don't have to rely on Foles to Westbrook, because while that's great, that can easily be handcuffed as the season wears on. So I have a little bit of hope, but that's mainly based on not so much what we did, but what other teams in the division did.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they still have some, they still have Marquise Lee and DJ Chark. So if Foles can have a connection with them, I think they're okay. I think another thing that's sort of worrying for me is, even though Jeff Swaim I thought was fine for the Cowboys, he's not one of those standout tight ends that could be a security blanket for Foles. So I wonder,
our tight ends as a group, they could be very well as potentially as far as blocking and help in our run game, but if we need an extra receiving threat, there's no one that we can turn to.
Yeah, certainly. Another big question mark that's come up this offseason, Brandon, is Tennessee seems to have a quarterback controversy, even though they really shouldn't have one. I mean, considering all things considered right now, it feels like this is supposed to be Marcus Mariota's team, and if you look how things have gone, you would think it wouldn't be. I mean, what do you make of Tennessee? Doesn't that just worry you for this season if they don't even know, they're not even sure who's starting?
Yeah, that's really odd because, like you said, Marcus Mariota hasn't really done anything to make you question his capabilities as a starting quarterback. So the fact that they're seemingly questioning it is very worrisome. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if anything does happen in regards to that. I don't think it will, but Tennessee, it's weird.
Yeah, obviously, guys, I'll throw it out to all of you. Depending on who you hear, what you read, or what you think of, anything that you've seen from him during the preseason or otherwise, obviously, everybody I guess not everyone, there's always questions about his injuries and everything else, but Andrew Luck is one of those special talents that doesn't come around all that often, and he had arguably his best season last year with Frank Reich. Now the Colts have to turn to Jacoby Brisset, who, to be fair, had a year under Luck with Frank Reich himself. Everybody seems to kind of believe in this guy who comes from a Patriots system. He's someone that's still pretty good, but the last time we saw him, this team was much different. Do you believe the hype a little bit? Do you think the Colts could still be respectable and still be fighting for the division? Or do you think that they're fighting, it's Houston's division to lose and everybody else is a pretender?
I definitely think it's Houston's division to lose at this point. I will say I don't think it's going to be like a Peyton Manning type situation where they're cellar dwellers or anything like that. I think they'll have an okay season. I don't think they'll get to 500, but I could see 5-11, 6-10, maybe even 7-9. But it's definitely not gonna be a season that the Colts fans prior to Luck retiring were expecting.
If everything plays out, the rumors I hear are true, and things go the way that these rumors are pointing to, Indianapolis might not be as bad off as what people think. It breaks my heart, but the rumor is they might be making a trade for draft capital for a certain quarterback that is near and dear to my heart. If that happens, a lot of Indianapolis fans can recycle some jerseys, and you also get a veteran leader on the field that is used to playing behind a Swiss cheese O-line. At least last year he was. And also, when you finish with a top 5 pick next year, you have somebody that can mentor your incoming rookie that you'll be drafting. But with that being said, I don't think that any team in this division outside of Houston makes the playoffs. I think Jacksonville will be the closest to doing so, strictly based on their defense being able to stop teams. And I think that they barely miss the wild card spot. So this is definitely Houston's division to lose. unless Indianapolis pulls the trigger on that trade, I don't see them winning any more than 4 games this year.
Personally, having seen Brisset really in that system, and now being able to work more, having this offseason under his belt, working with Frank Reich, Vegas wasn't necessarily harsh, dropping the win total to 6.5. I'm going to say it was just barely over. I see this team potentially going 8-8. Is it going to be a dogfight behind Houston? Yes. But is anybody really going to catch or threaten Houston? No, I don't see that much. Again, the Jaguars, I penned in originally as a 6-win team. They could go 9-7 and, like it was mentioned before, miss the playoffs on a tiebreaker or something like that. But it's going to be a division of who can get just above mediocrity and who could potentially at least scare the Texans.
Yeah, certainly. You can make that case. Depending on what happens, either 3 of those teams underneath the Texans could be one of them. If Nick Foles stays healthy and he plays anything like the Nick Foles we've seen, and, Jags defense does their thing, definitely they could be fighting with the Texans. I'm more with you, Eric. I believe that Frank Reich, when he says, that team is ready to get behind Jacoby Brisset, they like him, that he, under this system, having seen Luck for a year, having trained under this coach, apparently Andrew Luck told Jacoby Brisset first before anybody else. So I think this might be like a Romo to Dak situation where he might feel confident enough to be like, okay, this is your team now, and you do what you got to do. Remember, he's still got T.Y. Hilton to throw to. He's still got, Devin Funchess got added, and I think he'll thrive in this system. You got 2 really good tight ends behind him. I think the running back situation is a little bit questionable. I wonder if they would have thought about going after LaShawn McCoy or any of the other backs that have kind of been available, because Marlon Mack is fine, but you really got a bunch of smaller guys that can't carry the load, and you have to kind of go between Wilkins, Hines, Mack. Can that be enough to help Jacoby Brisset, who, he can run himself, but I think what helps Indianapolis is, if you look at their last 10 games last year, that defense got really good. And if that defense continues to thrive this year, that I think is what's going to help them a lot. If he can kind of keep them and not lose them games, this defense can keep them close in each game. And it's going to be, you're going to see them perhaps win a 7-9, 8-8 more than the lesser number that Jason and Brandon are saying. So let's go ahead and go down 1 through 4 here. I guess I'll start with, I think it's too hard for me to say anybody but Houston. I'm going to put Houston as the winner, even though really, honestly, we've seen that defense got worse on the back end, and now they lost Clowney too. I wonder, J.J. Watt's always one bad play from getting hurt for a while. And then that severely hurts that defense. So I don't think it's going to be a total runaway thing for Houston either. I think the Colts are going to be right behind them, or a couple games behind them in second. The Jags in third, and Tennessee with whatever the hell they're deciding to do in fourth, honestly. What do you say, Eric?
Personally, Houston won easily 11-5, thereabout, and I'm going to put Jacksonville as 2 because of their defense, and they have better things that they can solidify offensively. Indy 3, simply because of the level of talent, and Tennessee in a very close 4th. While they've always been that consistent 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, they don't have the right quarterback. They're not going to have the right quarterback. And I think that consistently is finally going to end, and they're going to take a turn for the worse.
All right, Jason.
Houston 1. Jacksonville 2, barely missing the wild card spot. Tennessee 3. Indianapolis 4.
Brandon?
Yeah, I'm right there with Eric. Houston at 1, Jacksonville 2. I think it's basically going to be a toss-up for 3 and 4, but I think Indy just barely pulls it out by a game or two over Tennessee.
All right. Well, there you have it. The AFC South has been decided. Everybody's picking Houston to win that division. And we'll see if we wind up all right or all wrong by the time the season ends.
It's not like last year where everybody was completely different.
Oh yeah, last year was. I think we all had a different team winning the South last year.
It's more fun that way.
I just like the fact that I'm odd man out, piling on Indianapolis sucking this year.
Fair enough.
We'll see. We'll see if the Ginger Damas is right or not. He usually is a lot of times. So let's move on to the AFC West, which is perhaps either it's the same two teams as last year, or maybe there's another team threatening, and who knows what the hell the Raiders are going to be doing. But let's start with Kansas City. Our good friend Robert Taylor. Congratulations on having your baby, Sebastian. I don't know how much sleep he's getting at all. I saw that picture of him and Sebastian sleeping on top of him. What a dad, that guy. We'll have him on, I'm assuming, or Harry and the guys will have him on during the season to talk.
I sure hope.
His beloved Chiefs.
There's only so much Mahomes talk I can handle.
Well,
Hey, Sean. Sean,
Don't do it. I will come to Myrtle Beach and I will cut you.
Oh, I am doing it. Since you haven't gotten the opportunity to get this, do you know what time it is, Sean?
oh God.
Eric?
I'm pretty sure it's Mahomes' time.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure I hate you both.
if you're listening, I understand, but I am still disappointed. Have you officially filed Sebastian's name yet? Because I'm pretty sure you can sneak in Patrick Mahomes as a couple extra middle names. Something parenthetical. Just saying.
You could.
I hate
I mean, this is the guy that gets excited that Matt Moore is the backup QB. I mean, come on. It's a bit too much Chiefs love.
Hey, at
there.
least he has something to cheer for now, unlike the last however many years.
But Sean, in his defense, if you had Chad Henne as your backup quarterback, wouldn't you be excited if you signed Matt Moore?
Yeah, I guess, but we're hoping Patrick Mahomes is not getting hurt because that just severely
that would destroy this team.
Plummets the team here. So, either way,
neck.
God.
Just so I can troll Robert with pictures of wheelchairs.
So, the big, another big signing from over the weekend, LaShawn McCoy, now the newest running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He joins Damian Williams along in that backup by committee or whatever it is they're going to do there. Maybe perhaps he winds up being the lead back by the time we get to, a few weeks in. How much more dangerous does that make the Chiefs, Jason? And is this just a runaway train already? Is there anybody else in this division that's going to catch them?
All right, we'll talk about Houston. Talk about Kansas City first. They won't have the season they did. I don't care what anybody thinks. Teams have a full year of tape on Mahomes, so they've been studying. And, he burst onto the scene. No doubt that he caught a lot of teams off guard. Well, they got a year of tape on him.
So
they know how to scheme for it.
Slump.
I'm saying he takes a major step back. The team as a whole I think that they stay kind of on par, but I think Mahomes takes a step back. As for the running backs,
Well, hold on. If Mahomes takes a step back, how does the team stay on par? Mahomes is the team.
because they got better on defense, so they don't have to win shootouts.
Okay.
You don't have 51 to 49 point games. They've added some secondary help in the Honey Badger. They've added a little bit more interior help. You're not going to see these high octave games like you did with them in the Rams last year, which was insane.
Yeah.
With that
Frank
being
Clark's
said-
a sneaky signing for sure.
Yeah. With that being said, this running back debacle there now is really, really interesting because not only do you have Shady, who they just signed, you have Damon Williams there, and you have the third round pick that they had that was getting ready, that was causing a huge push to be the starting running back through the preseason and camp, and Darwin Thomas. So you have 3 legitimate running backs in that backfield. That is a nightmare, all capable of stepping up and putting up 150-point games. With that being said, do I think that they can run away with this division? It all depends on what happens in the front office of the Chargers. Melvin Gordon wants more money, says he's going to hold out. They say, "Hey, we're going to let you pursue a trade now," and you don't hear any teams calling. They
just said contract talks are done until the end of the season. So
yeah, they said if they can't find a trading partner, either he sits out or he plays under his current contract. Which, I mean, I can understand, but Le'Veon Bell set a precedent last year being the little whiny bitch that he was and set out the entire season and then took less money for what was offered. But it all comes down. It's a two-horse division. One team's going to win it. One team's going to be the wild card. And your winner, as of now, will be the Chiefs. If Melvin Gordon returns to the Chargers, I would take the Chargers to win it, with the other team being the wild card. I know Robert is going to get pissy with that and throw a little tantrum, but like I said, I hope Mahomes breaks an ankle, and just so I can troll him with pictures of wheelchairs.
God. Oh, Lord. Okay. That's fair enough. I mean, Brandon, there's all the, Oakland didn't get help by the fact that they were on Hard Knocks, so they got even more attention. You had Antonio Brown, who's supposed to be your biggest signing, worried about his helmet. They just signed another quarterback, and Deshaun Kaiser picking him off waivers. This team just seems in a lot of disarray, and I mean, what do you think? Antonio Brown's this is all shenanigans, and he just gets on the field and plays, or are we just going to have storyline central with this team all year?
I have no idea when it comes to Brown. I have a feeling it's going to be storyline central for the whole season. Raiders are going to Raiders. They're going to be at the bottom of the barrel this year, definitely. So, I mean, all I got to say is, and we'll talk about them more later, but I'm sure the Steelers are glad that they are rid of 2 giant headaches this season.
Is there a worry? Do you think if Derek Carr doesn't perform that he could be on his way out after this season?
I think even if he does perform, I think if these shenanigans continue and all of the messes the whole mess that Gruden has created there, I think unless they promise him a lot, in terms of both money and getting that team better once they move to Vegas, that he's going to be looking for other teams that he can actually go win with.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a good thought there. I think definitely Carr has to step up and do something, or he's certainly going to be on some kind of trade block.
I think this is the last year Carr is in a Raider uniform, regardless. Unless he has an MVP season, he's gone next year.
Is this the last year of his contract?
No.
If not, then he'll be traded.
Fair enough.
I think he has one more year after
Did
this
he
one.
sign one of those $100 million contracts?
Yeah, I think it was like 4 years, though.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what the contract is right now, but definitely. And I think also, too, you got to think about not only did you add Brown, you added a bunch of other veterans that seem to cause more problems than they certainly help. So,
And also, at least when it comes to Carr, I think his worry, especially with how erratic Gruden has been over these last 2 years, all of these signings of quarterbacks, Carr has to be worried, like, what are you doing? Are you trying to replace me?
Yeah.
He is signed through the 2022 season.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, their line is sort of what it is. It's okay. They have some decent receivers. The running back is a problem. That they kind of go with these speedy backs that don't really help Derek Carr much. But, yeah, I think this is all on Carr this season, and I don't know if this is going to work very well, especially when you have 3 teams ahead of them that certainly, as we mentioned already, the Chargers. And speaking of, Eric, Jason said it's a toss-up between Melvin Gordon being there or not being there. A lot of talk about Austin Eckler and the running backs behind him being able to do it without Gordon. With the defense, yes, they don't have Derwin James for a lot of the season. With that defense, with the rest of the team, Phillip Rivers, can they still make that push? Is it still neck and neck, or is it really reliant that much on Melvin Gordon?
I wouldn't say it's incredibly reliant on Melvin Gordon, because we could see something similar to what happened with James Conner in Pittsburgh. I mean, Austin Eckler, he has the talent, has the potential, so is he perfectly a replacement for Melvin Gordon? No, but he's close enough. And I honestly think with how the rest of the team is assembled, and Phillip Rivers knowing he's got maybe one, the last big run left in him, 2 at the most, they know that their time is now, because if they don't, then you're setting up a potential decade-long Chiefs dynasty or something of that ilk. So the Chargers are going to do pretty much everything they can, and I think it will be pretty close, because let's face it, for the Raiders, they casted perfectly for Hard Knocks. This season, especially compared to last season with Cleveland, subpar. We've seen what Joe Flacco can do. Being in Denver is not going to change that. So you can easily pin 3 wins, maybe 4 right there. So I think the Chargers really can keep this close, and who knows? It could wind up a carbon copy of last season where they wind up making a bit of a run, hopefully more travel-friendly, as a 5 seed.
I think one thing, and you mentioned it, Eric, I think this, especially if he does end up holding out for the entire season, that offensive line, just like they did with Connor last year in Pittsburgh, that offensive line is going to say, hey, screw you, you can't do anything without us, and we're going to show you that it's us that's really making you a star. And I think Eckler is going to take the same route of saying, hey, I can do just as well as you can. So it may motivate them even more to play better.
Yeah, certainly. Melvin Gordon is at a big disadvantage, I feel like, in these contract talks. Because I don't know if the offense revolves around Melvin Gordon as much as he likes to think it does. And I feel like Austin Eckler being good enough, like you said, Brandon, will be able to show itself. And it's still relying on Phillip Rivers going out there and throwing the ball to the receivers and the tight ends. You know what? I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, though, Erik. I think with getting Vic Fangio as the coach for Denver, one of the things that they lacked heavily was that it seemed like Vance Joseph didn't know what the hell he was doing. And the defense also suffered under Vance Joseph. Vic Fangio, we know what he did with the Bears defense last year. The Broncos defense has a heck of a, great line. They're missing, maybe they don't have as great as, linebackers as the Bears, but they certainly still have, the back end adding Kareem Jackson, I think is huge for them and helping them on that side. And we've seen Joe Flacco doesn't necessarily have to do a ton because he did this with the Ravens in numerous seasons where the defense could carry him and his lack of ability that appears and disappears at a moment's notice. And I think with what you saw out of the running backs last year who are still there, Royce Freeman can kind of be the Royce Freeman we saw at the end of the year and not the beginning of the year to tag with Phillip Lindsay. And, they added Jawan James to the line. If Garrett Bowles can continue to be a terrific left tackle, you still got Emmanuel Sanders there. I think that's enough for Joe Flacco to be fine and be Joe Flacco for this year. Let Drew Lock sit behind him and learn, and maybe he takes over next year or a year after that. But with this defense, the way it's constructed with Vic Fangio, I think the Broncos could take away wins from some of these, from either the Chargers or the Chiefs, or just be around and be winning games that you don't expect them to win. So it's a little bit of a different situation when you're playing the Chargers and Chiefs. Maybe they're not, already 0-5 or whatever when they play each other. The Broncos are much more respectable, and they might be a lot more competitive in these games than you give them credit for. I honestly think they're not going to be too far behind that. I think they could certainly challenge for a wild card spot, really.
No. I'm with you, but the issue, just like it was with the Bears, the issue was never really the defense. It was Mitchell Trubisky. And this is why I say when I see Joe Flacco.
But the Bears were one doink away from going on in the playoffs.
I remember because Mitch Trubisky, even for his lack of talent, actually tried and he cared. This lack of ability that appears and disappears, as you call it, from Joe Flacco, that's not lack of ability. That's lack of giving a damn. Look at his career with Baltimore. When did he have the best success? When was he going to the Super Bowl? When was he having epic playoff teams? When he knows somebody was breathing down his neck. Sorry, Drew Lock is starting the season on IR because of a thumb injury. Flacco knows that at least...
But perhaps it's not, but perhaps Flacco knows that if he doesn't show himself this year, he might not be with another team.
Okay, but even then, even if he does, you really think that he didn't go into the season knowing, hey, you're a stopgap, I'm John Elway, I'm still trying to figure out a quarterback, you're just it for right now. Come on.
Well, but he still needs to. He still wants to play after this year, right? So he's got to perform in order to get on another team. You would think.
Yeah.
I mean, Elway's crazy enough to have him to pay him just to sit on his ass too. But still, just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning towards not seeing it. Maybe him being an analyst or some coach somewhere will help his eyebrows look better. But as far as with him as a quarterback, No, he can take that wannabe Ryan Fitzpatrick beard, and he'll eventually go somewhere else.
That's fair enough on that one. But well, hey, we got a whole season to see what happens there. That being said, how's your 1 through 4 looking? Anybody have anybody but the Chiefs?
Nope.
All right, so we can pencil the Chiefs.
I'll do it.
number
I'll
one.
go the Chargers, just to be different.
He's just doing it just to piss off Robert.
No, I think Gordon signs. Gordon shows up, plays his contract out, and he goes elsewhere. He goes on and tries to. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He wins the rushing title, and says, "Screw you, Chargers! You had your chance. I'm out."
All right, so Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders.
Yeah, that's where I'm falling.
And I think the rest of us have it Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody have Chargers making the playoffs?
Yes.
Or Chiefs
I-
on the other
yeah.
way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have too.
I think the West gives out two teams.
I will say though, I do agree with Jason that I think, while not quite as bad as you may think, Jason, but I do think that there will be a little bit of a sophomore slump for Mahomes this year.
I've been preaching these numbers: 4,300 yards, 29 touchdown passes.
That's
I
hard to
don't
do
think.
again.
Like I said, I think it's solely based on the fact that teams have tape on him.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember. I think their out of conference schedule is it the NFC West this year? I'm thinking it's the NFC West, but I know they got a hell of tough schedule. So
They have the AFC South and the NFC North, it looks like.
okay, they got the North. Okay,
Yeah.
But still, I mean that North division. That North
division is always tough, yeah.
I mean, you've got a very stout Chicago defense that he's going to face. Minnesota is got a solid team and a solid defense. I mean, you're going to at least face
Got to play the
two
Patriots. Got to play the Chargers twice.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I look for them, and me saying they're not going to win the division, I think they lose it on a tiebreak.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's as
They-
close as
they-
you can get, really.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a division game that they're going to stumble and not. They're going to be looking past somebody and stumble, and it's going to be like a last-second field goal that beats them and causes them to finish second in the division.
That's certainly bold considering the Chargers' problems with field goal kickers. But yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say the Broncos are going to be really close. Maybe not so close, but I think the Broncos could really be fighting for a second wild card or something. I think they're going to surprise teams just because I think that defense is going to keep them in games a heck of a lot more. If the Raiders win 5 games, I think somebody should
That'll be a miracle.
praise Derek Carr or something. I do think Antonio Brown's going to be Antonio Brown, though. He's going to get his thing. I just think what's going to happen when Antonio Brown doesn't get thrown the ball 20 times? Or are they going to throw Antonio Brown the ball 20 times and it's going to disrupt the rest of the offense? You know, so...
He'll do what he's done before. Change his name, come up with another nickname, and dye some other hair blonde. Who knows?
Certainly.
I still say his dad needs to have a good sit-down with him.
Yeah. No, that's going to be... That needs to be a show. Antonio Brown with his dad. I would sit down.
Well, I mean, you had two legendary wide receivers, one in the Arena League and one in the NFL. It would be perfect. Especially since Albany's won a championship.
Moving on.
Okay, yeah, moving on.
Yeah. I think we can basically just breeze through the AFC East.
Yeah, the AFC
Patriots division to lose, and Le'Veon Bell is going to be so disappointed that he left the Steelers because the Jets are going to be mediocre at best. There, two headlines.
Well, spoken like a Giants fan, certainly.
Okay, I'm going to slightly disagree. Patriots, because they still have everybody that made their contracts with the devil, sign them in blood. Dolphins are officially a dumpster fire, as we all anticipated.
And even more now.
Yeah, and the Jets with Adam Gase, they could be a surprise wild card team. I mean, hell, it's pretty easy to win games when you never have to leave the Eastern time zone.
I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins. I mean,
well, that's not much of a stretch.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
You know what? I give Harry's team a heck of a lot more credit. If Josh Allen can be a good quarterback.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be Patriots, Bills, Jets, Miami.
That's
because I just don't trust the Jets. You guys have never lived in New York and seen this team year after year, thinking that they're going to be good, and then they screw it up somehow.
You're talking to someone who's been friends with a Long Islander for the better part of a decade. Trust me, I know this team. Pats, Jets, Bills right behind, probably tiebreaker against the Jets, and the Dolphins, I don't know, in 118, maybe?
We know the Dolphins are... Right now, the Dolphins are tanking for Justin Herbert or Tua or whoever.
And I
think they'll get a Tuna Matata and they'll tank, draft Kuna Matata and be happy.
As the girlfriend punches me because I said something bad about the Dolphins. But
you're talking about someone who has a starting quarterback who has played for almost as many teams as he has kids, so there's that.
You hush your mouth about Fitztragic.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, Fitzpatrick's already played, for the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins already, so...
Yep.
All he has to do is go to New England to complete the East quadfecta.
Oh, well,
he's trying to, you know how like people travel around to get like patches from every. He's just doing it with the NFL teams.
Well, Eric, I will ask you this question, Eric.
Go ahead.
Shouldn't you go ahead and see what you got in Josh Rosen?
That was going to eventually happen. Josh Rosen said so himself at a press conference. Eventually, this team is going to be mine. Now, the only problem is, since you traded your one good offensive lineman who happened to wear a gas mask one time and fell off draft boards, he's going to go out there, couple games, get something broke, and it's going to be right back to Fitzpatrick. Now, not only could he go to the Patriots and complete the AFC East sweep, he could come on up here to Jacksonville and complete the Florida sweep as well. Just saying.
I think not just that. I think, for one, that's a total Josh Rosen answer because that seems like the lazy way to say something, right? Oh, it's eventually going to be mine because Fitzpatrick's going to get hurt or he's just going to do whatever. What a BS from a guy that hasn't done shit in this league for him to say.
Well,
it's not BS if it's true.
I don't care. That's just terrible. I mean, if I was the Dolphins and I had if I was I can't remember the owner's name right now. If I'm the owner, I freaking cut him for that. That's ridiculous to me.
You mean Stephen Ross, who had his own issues as far as the kind of people who he hangs around? I mean, let's talk about that, shall we?
Let's
try to get this through before it's a 4-hour show.
Yeah, let's not. But definitely, I think I'm gonna go out because Harry's not here to talk about his team. But The Bills, I think they're going to surprise people. I think Josh Allen's going to play much better this season. I'm not saying they do more than like 8-8 or whatever, but that defense is still going to be one of the best defenses in this entire league. I think even, you let go of McCoy, if Frank Gore can be anything of Frank Gore. I think with Singletary and you have Yeldon you could pass to in the backfield, Cole Beasley's going to be a beast for them with the quick screen game and the other just quick passing in that they've got going on right now. The only thing I worry about is they don't have that big receiver for Josh Allen to throw to. Other than that, with the they got better on the offensive line wise. Adding Oliver, I say watch out for the Bills.
The Bills' schedule is brutal.
That's
They
why
play-
I'm putting them.
I mean they've got NFC East and AFC North with a AFC South team sprinkled in. So I mean, and an AFC West team sprinkled in. I don't see them beating the Patriots. I don't see them beating the Steelers. I don't see them beating the Ravens or the Cowboys or the Browns or the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I see the Giants beating them. So, I mean, that's 6 games right there.
Fair enough. The one thing I will say with what you were talking about with Miami and Rosen, you're talking about the Dolphins like they're a competently run organization.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. If you're a quarterback that you're the first quarterback in how long that was a first round pick and you've only spent 1 year with that team, and they were really quick to go try to get Kyler Murray the next year, I'd kind of be changing my tune a little bit, at least for anything to be showing I'm hungry if I want to get off the Dolphins sometime and play for a competently run team. I don't know, but that's just me. I mean. But even then, I think he has to know that they're trying to get somebody else that's coming out next year.
I bet you Belichick's going to get on the phone with Satan. He's going to work out a deal, and the next thing you know, we'll be talking about Josh Rosen as a Patriot next year.
Oh, God.
Just because.
I guess this is the question I have to ask. Is this the year that Tom Brady becomes mortal, or is he still...
No.
I give him at least one more year of him just being Brady before there's even the possibility that they start to decline.
I think this is his last year.
I say semi-mortality. He'll fade down the stretch like week 11, week 12, similar to what he did last year, but they're going to have a crap September, then they're going to catch fire. Brady's going to slow down. They'll luck into a first-round bye, and then they'll be right back in candidates for the Super Bowl. If not, then you better look up to the sky to see signs of the apocalypse. I don't know.
All right, so everybody has Patriots winning the division. Everybody has Patriots getting to is Patriots. Yeah, and then we have 2 Jets, Bills, Dolphins, and then 2 Bills, Jets, Dolphins. Is that what we're going with here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go to the AFC North, the last division.
Which is going
in
to
the
be
AFC.
the trickiest one.
Yes, certainly the trickiest one. I don't know why you're kind of cutting out a little bit here and there, Brandon, just to let you know. But yes, it's certainly 3 teams, and then the Bengals are going to be the Bengals. It's crazy to say that about now you're including the Cleveland Browns in this conversation after so many years of
Hold up.
Yeah.
I want to point something out. Ginger Damas, 2 years ago, said, give the Cleveland Browns 3 years before they win the division. We're in year 2 of that. Never bet against Ginger Damas.
Yeah,
Fair
but
enough.
again, the fact that it's year 2, yes, Baker Mayfield woke up feeling dangerous. Yes, Odell Beckham gets to cry to a quarterback who will actually throw him the ball. But, yeah, Freddie Kitchens? Question mark.
Yeah, certainly.
Hey,
all right.
I'm just saying. You got. I want. I'm a believer in Cleveland. I think that offense is going to be scary good. The only downside is there enough balls to go around for egos?
No.
Well, I think that's the big problem. I think, yes, they've gotten better on the talent side, but I'm more inclined to lean towards what Eric's saying. I think Browns are gonna Browns. Odell's gonna get a little too hot-headed, and maybe they make the playoffs as a wild card, but I don't think they win the division.
Honestly, I think with his best buddy Jarvis Landry playing next to him, I don't think there's going to be this huge ego fight that you guys are thinking there's going to be.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I mean, I think it's just going to be. I think it's going to be more of the egos after Game 8 is when everything's going to start, because starting Week 9 you have a legitimate last year a top running back coming into the fold, and you've got Nick Chubb there. So how do you keep everyone happy in that backfield?
Well, Kareem Hunt has to be humble because he screwed himself over. So,
But
the worst case scenario, he's the kicker for Cleveland.
well, worst case scenario, Kareem Hunt just gets released. If he... What the?
Here's the thing that I'm worried about when it comes to the Browns. Look at all the talking points that we've seen throughout the preseason. What have they been talking about? They haven't been talking about how they've improved. They haven't been talking about anything on the field when it comes to the Browns themselves. All anyone on the Browns have been talking about is Odell Beckham talking about the Giants and how they screwed him over and yada, yada, yada. They're too focused on external things, and I think that's where it's going to be where Browns are going to Browns.
Plus, did we not just have a brief discussion about competently run organizations?
Exactly.
Last time the Cleveland Browns have been a competently run organization.
Exactly. The hype is going to get to them, and they're going to do something, some way, somehow, to screw themselves over.
You can't use.
I firmly agree with that. Firmly.
All right, so who do we got picking? Who we got winning the division?
Steelers.
Yeah, I think it's the Steelers. Certainly.
I'm going Cleveland. Baltimore, Steelers, Cincy.
I'm reversed on Cleveland and Steelers. Steelers, Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincy.
Steelers, Ravens, which I'm pretty sure going to be, although they're going to really miss out, unfortunately, is being a wild card team, but they're going to get close. Browns, and then the Bungles.
Eric, I think I need to ask this question, though. Do you think Lamar Jackson is going to suffer from we've seen what you can do and get stifled, or you think he's still going to be as hard to prepare for as he was last year?
I think he's going to be as hard to prepare for as he was last year, because no matter what John Harbaugh says, he's not going to expose Lamar to the number of runs like he did last year. Well, Lamar's built up a bit. They focused this offseason, rightfully so, getting him more comfortable in the passing game. So I think you're going to see some dramatic improvements in that regard, and that's really going to give a much-needed boost to that Ravens offense.
I think it's going to be a lot like what we were talking about with Mahomes, where there will be a bit of a sophomore slump, but nothing crazy detrimental. I think he'll still be solid. He may not be dominant like he was last year, but he will still be a solid quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys on that. I think also having Mark Ingram back there helps some.
Definitely.
Some with some running game. Having these quick receivers he can just get the ball out to will help him out too. I think people are kind of underrating this defense a little bit. I know they lost a lot of veterans, but these rookies that are behind them are not rookies, but these young guys behind them are going to be just as good or do well enough for the Ravens to do what I think. I think I'm gonna go with Jason's original choice here of the Browns are still a year away. I don't necessarily like that offensive line being how much is Mr. Mayfield going to be running for his life before he can get the ball to Landry and Odell Beckham. Besides the who's going to be yelling about what, that defense is still pretty great, but I don't know. I have the Steelers are just too good in my opinion right now. If Roethlisberger can be Big Ben for at least another season, he's got so much with Juju going on, the rest of the receivers, and I think James Conner will be, keep doing his thing like he did last year. That defense is so sneaky good. I think Steelers are going to be one of the best defenses in this entire league this year. Steelers, Ravens, the Browns aren't making they're not making the playoffs, but they'll be really close.
I'm going to say this is thing you guys will totally tell me I'm stupid and everything. Juju is not a wide receiver one.
That's fair. It's not necessarily
he will not be he will not be in the top 15 wide receivers this year.
We're going to make a bet on that. I've got an idea already for what I'm getting if I win.
Reason why his skill set is better when playing opposite of a legit receiver. When he's drawing the number one corner or safety defensive back on any team, I think that they can lock him down. He works better with yards after catch, not drawing the top guy on the defense. When the focal point becomes him, I don't think that he can step up and be that wide receiver one.
I think a lot has been made this year about James Washington stepping up big time as a receiver. I think it also helps that I think something we don't think about is his old quarterback from Oklahoma State is a backup. So perhaps Mr. Mason could be showing Big Ben how best to use James in situations. And they got Dante Moncrief on the other side. I think you might be right, Jason, but I think perhaps maybe you have one of those two receivers draw guys and you don't think about it, and Juju is still... I think one thing they learned last year is they started moving Brown around. They didn't just have Antonio Brown stay in one spot like they had with the previous offensive coordinator. So I think with moving Juju around, you won't draw that all the time because a lot of these corners don't just follow the same guy all the time. There's a lot of corners that they just stay on their side, and we'll see how it goes. But I think they're smart enough to know we're going to have to find different ways to use Smith-Schuster. We'll see.
All right, now let's flip over to the NFC.
Yep, let's flip.
So let's get a consensus of who our AFC playoff teams are.
Yep.
Who our AFC winners are. The winners, we got we've
pretty much go down the who's
pretty much got the same until we get to the AFC North. Everybody's pretty much got the same two teams finishing the top two across the board until we get to the North.
Well, except for you have the Chargers and the Chiefs switch.
Yeah, I'm saying we got the same two teams. Everybody's went Chiefs, Chargers in the West. Those two finish in the top two. Everybody's got the same two top teams in the South in Jacksonville and Houston. The West.
I had the Colts. Yeah.
Did you have the Colts finishing too?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're not making the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter.
No, we've got our playoff show coming up. I was just seeing how much, pretty much we was pretty even kill across the board.
So we have Chargers and what, Ravens or Browns making the playoffs? Is that what everybody's?
Yeah.
Well, Ravens or Steelers because you had the Browns winning.
Yeah, I've got the Steelers missing the playoffs.
Oh, Steelers missing the playoffs.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the Steelers finishing third, missing the playoffs.
See,
you have the Ravens. You have the Ravens and Chargers, or Ravens and Chiefs probably as the wild card teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, for my wild card teams, I have the Chargers and the Jets.
Wow.
I have Chargers and Ravens.
I have Chargers and Ravens too. Man. My friend Randy would be happy to hear that you are putting the Jets in the playoffs.
I said that they would be a wild card team with Adam Gase, and I also said the Ravens would get better and they would improve, but they would unfortunately just miss out.
All right, so yes, let's move on to the NFC. We've only hit barely an hour on the AFC, so we're doing good so far. So let's go ahead and let's do the NFC East last, since we got three people with two teams to represent there. But let's go with the NFC West. Why not? So this is pretty much, how much does that adding Jadeveon Clowney do for the Seahawks? Does this make it a battle at all with the Rams, or is this still the Rams and everybody else? Or
Still the Rams and everyone else to me. I mean, yeah, you've got Jadeveon Clowney that helps the Seahawks defense. Is Russell Wilson, now that he's got paid deservedly, still going to have to be running for his life? To me, yes.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much Rams. It's their division to lose. Although I do think the Seahawks and the 49ers are going to be decent. I think they're both going to be fighting for a wild card spot.
See, I think this is one of the hardest divisions to judge. I think it's a three-team race. I mean, Seattle gets a lot better, but San Francisco's got a lot better, getting Garoppolo back.
If he can stay healthy.
Well, I mean, an injury can happen to anybody. You could say if Brady stays healthy, or you could say if anybody stays healthy, that impacts the team.
Well, but here's the catch. Jimmy Garoppolo has ways of getting himself into trouble. Let's look at how he got hurt last season. Plus, while he's talented, the whole meshing with Kyle Shanahan still hasn't 100% happened. That's why I'm saying it's an if. You get hurt more when you put yourself into chaos than when you take yourself out of it. I speak from experience.
And, I mean, you can't sleep on Arizona. I mean, Arizona is still, they have some weapons on offense. I mean,
Kingsbury didn't have a winning record at his alma mater with Patrick Mahomes for part of that time. good sweet Jeebus! I can sleep on Arizona, and I don't even need a Quaalude. My God!
Well, I mean, if you just because you don't win at college, don't mean you can't win in the pros. Just because you win in the pros, don't mean you can't win at college. I mean, look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban was was a winner in college, still is. Went to the pros, he did absolutely jack shit. Is he a horrible coach? Did he not be able to?
He had one good year, not to mention, if he had Drew Brees instead of Dante Culpepper, yes, I know it's what ifs, but think about that.
You have a lot more control in college over who you get than you do in the NFL.
For the big teams, yes, not for the small teams.
Yes, no, of course.
Okay.
I mean, really, Kingsbury said he wanted Murray. He got Murray.
Yeah, and half of the
I think Murray's going to be running for his life, and David Johnson's going to look very ordinary again. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, they added not adding Terrell Suggs to that defense, and they have some nice defensive pieces. Patrick Peterson's going to be hurt for a while. But, I mean, amazingly, Larry Fitzgerald's still there to anchor that, kind of mediocre wide receiver core. But I think they're going to be, if they get 6 wins, that's something?
I will go out on a limb and say you get 3 teams from the NFC West in the playoffs.
Okay, that's not too much of a stretch because, like you said, if Garoppolo plays like the Jimmy Garoppolo that everybody believes he can be, then they should, right? I mean,
I'll give you 2, but I'm not saying 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure about 3, but I mean, it wouldn't shock me if it was.
I'm just saying, you heard it here first. Ginger Damas has spoken. I think the Rams, I mean, they're good. There's no doubt they're good. I think that their offense takes a step back. I think the Gurley stuff is a little bit more concerning than what they really are letting on and what he's letting on. And I think this is going to sound crazy, but I think Cooper Kupp coming back actually disrupts that offense more than it helps because he is a possession guy. They're going to that passing game ran really smooth last year. You add him in, it adds another mouth to feed and someone to keep happy, and I think Gurley's numbers drop significantly. I think Braden Coates' numbers drop significantly. I just think that they're setting themselves up for failure. I would love to see them repeat and be a force. I don't know. I just think that the Gurley, like I said, the Gurley stuff isn't being documented correctly, and I think Cooper Kupp throws a wrench in that offense by trying to make them better when it actually is counterproductive.
I will say this about the entire NFC East before we move on. The NFC East, I will agree with Jason, overall, West, North, South, even the East, is much more competitive and much harder to predict than the AFC.
You mean the NFC in general?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you confused me. You kept saying the NFC East, and then we're talking about the West.
We was all over the map there for a second.
No, I said, overall, the NFC is much more competitive in every division than the AFC.
Yeah, the NFC is going to be a little harder to predict. So, I mean, I think we all in agreement that it's going to be the Rams winning the division.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that defense is still too good not to say that they're not. I agree with you though that it's going to be rough after that. Like the 49ers and Seahawks could certainly be pushing the rest of that NFC.
And I'm going to say, with the 49ers, and I'm hinging this, I know on Garoppolo, but if he can kind of settle down and make it through a 16-game season, which I'm going to say he will, I got the Niners as one of my wildcard teams.
Yeah, this is rough for me because the Seahawks lost a lot on the defensive side. That makes, adding Clowney's great. I still feel like that anchor was that defense. If Tyler Lockett gets hurt, who the hell is Wilson going to throw the ball to? Because everybody else has been hurt. Well, yeah, Metcalf. I'm just saying, it's just it's limited for Russell Wilson right now. And then that line improved some, but is he still going to be running a lot more sideways and backwards than he is forward? I believe Garoppolo's going to be fine. I think he has a lot to prove, right? So I think he's going to have a lot to go out there and prove, not only for himself. I think his coach also has a bit to, hey, you bet the farm on this guy. Yes, he got hurt. It's not your fault, but I think now between the coach and the quarterback, you got to go out there and prove that you're worth all the hype and the money. And you've got the line, you've got the running backs, you've got a good rapport with Goodwin, and the rest of the receivers is going to take a little bit of time, but that defense is still really good. They can keep them in games. I'm going to put the 49ers ahead of the Seahawks. It might be like one game or so. I think the Rams are going to be a couple of games ahead of the 49ers, and the Cardinals, if they win 5 games, that's a plus for them. So that's where I'm at. Anybody else not go through the...
I think the Cardinals finished third, but it's good enough to get the second wild card spot.
I'm going to take all of these predictions, and I'm going to make an interesting parlay bet with you.
I think it goes Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, and then no Rams. I think. Oh God, I think Seahawks.
It's gonna. I'm thinking Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals.
All right. I like that we have a little bit more of a.
I think
here.
Seattle. I think Seattle finishes last in the division.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay, Sean, are you keeping a list of all of these?
I'll just go back and write it down later.
Yeah.
I don't have, if I go through and write down, this is going to take even longer.
Yeah, but please do that and send that to me. Jason, you and I will have audience. That's all.
Jason certainly is putting it out there today. He's got the brass balls.
Hey, all I'm telling you, how many times has Ginger Damas honestly been? When Ginger Damas put something out there, everybody laughed when I made the predictions of the Super Bowl. I did. I told you who was going to be the factor, and it came true.
If your prediction for the college football one comes true, then pigs will fly.
Hey. Well, they fly every day in the bottom of airplanes, so there's that.
That's why I'm making this a parlay. Like I said, we'll talk.
So, do I think that Seattle is going to have a tremendous losing record? No, I think in that division they beat up on each other and they win. Their losses come within the division, and that's why they end up finishing last in the division. I think that it's because it's not going to be because of their out-of-conference losses. It's going to be due to their in-conference losses. It's going to be that division is going to be decided due to the head-to-head matchups.
Okay. That's fair enough. I think you can say that for a lot of the NFC, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, as Brendan mentioned, there's not an easy division to pick in this NFC, so I'm just going to go on and we're going to talk about the NFC South now. You've got 3 legitimate teams here, and then the Buccaneers who get Bruce Arians back as the coach.
That's what it seems to be for the North, South, and West. You have 3 legitimate teams and then 1 cellar dweller.
See, I don't feel that way.
I don't know. I think the North, certainly you could have all 4 if
I think the North is 2 teams, the South is a 1 team, and the East is a 1 team.
I don't know.
All
the
right.
East I see is 2. The North, I do see that as the weird. And then the South, yeah, it's 3 teams and Bruce Arians, who should have been on Hard Knocks with the Bucs this season.
that's because weren't the Bucs like just on Hard Knocks?
Well, no, the fact that the Bucs just hired a new head coach. So, and I know it's like,
but I think they can't have him repeat really quickly one after the other.
yeah, that. Jesus, HBO really let me down this year. I am disappointed.
Yeah.
All right, so what division are we going next?
So it's NFC South. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna throw this out there. How many games does Jameis Winston, Bruce Arians, and the rest of the Bucs win?
Yeah, I'll be generous and say 4, maybe 5.
But this goes back to a conversation we had earlier. The Bucs are also being linked in trade talks as one of the possible trade partners for the Chargers to get Melvin Gordon.
And
Is that their
could
only
change-
issue here? I mean, not like Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones are terrible.
Yeah.
But they're not great. Okay. Would you take Barber and Jones over Gordon? If you're the NFL
I don't know
GM,
that Gordon is what puts this team over the. Jameis Winston's still he's okay. I think
he's still crab legs. Plain and simple.
that's the only thing you got to do is tell him you got crab legs in the end zone and he'll run for his life.
I mean, Bruce Arians, I think, helped him as a coach, right?
So in Tampa Bay, that doesn't work.
All right, so are we? Do you have anybody but the Saints winning the division?
Well,
There's a lot of grunting confusion going on here.
one big factor, and I'll just break this down team by team. The big factor for Carolina is how healthy is Cam? Is he good to go, or is he
I'm so
going
glad
to
you
be
said that.
I think that's going to linger for him.
Yeah.
Because even though they said, the deep ball's back, this is still Cam Newton we're talking about here.
Well, but Nerve Turner has certainly had him throwing a lot more.
I want to point something out. Do you want to know why I'm so glad you brought up Cam Newton injury?
Why?
Who is the backup to Cam Newton right now?
Will
Will
Greer.
Yes. And you know my love for Will Greer.
He threw a beautiful touchdown pass. I think it was this past week, Thursday, in their preseason game.
So Cam Newton's an afterthought. We are Will Greer, QB1 in Carolina.
I don't think he'd be enough to do
Okay.
a ton, though.
Jason, I'm not going to give him as being QB1 this year, but would it surprise me that he's QB1 for 2020? Absolutely not.
And you guys thought that the homerism of Will Greer and the man crush was over. No, it continues.
I knew that it wasn't going to be over, but I'm just also being very realistic. And even with Norv Turner having Cam Newton throw, his accuracy isn't that much better. I mean, honestly, if it gets to the point to where Carolina's out of it, then we'll be going to see time late this season. I don't doubt that.
But back to Sean's original question. Now, after thinking about it, yes, New Orleans at 1. I think, depending upon health of Cam Newton and a bunch of different factors, there's a toss-up at 2 between the Falcons and Panthers. I think they both are at least in contention for a playoff spot. And then the Bucks at the bottom.
I think it goes New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Tampa.
I'm with Jason, but I think the margins are much slimmer between New Orleans and Atlanta. Just like I said with Tom Brady, late in the stretch of the season, you're going to see similar things with Drew Brees. But I think with
Sean... You saw it last year already.
Yeah, and you're going to see it again. But I think Sean Payton can tweak the offense enough to where they can adapt to it. But if Atlanta winds up nipping New Orleans on a tiebreaker, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
I have Atlanta winning the division because I think getting Dirk Cutter back and putting Matt Ryan back in a familiar position with an offensive coordinator he knows, I think that helps a ton.
Not to mention getting all the help from on the defensive end that they got injured last year.
Yes, that they were a revolving door injury-wise last year. I think you're not going to see that. So, I mean, obviously, again, like Jason said, we could say that, right? And then once again it happens, and you have this problem. But we're going to always hope on the not getting injured so much side. I think this is another year for Calvin Ridley to get even better than he was last year, to be right there next to Julio Jones, and then you still have Sanu as your third receiver. Devonta Freeman has to he has no Tevin Coleman now. So
yeah, I see. That's where I find Atlanta's weak spot. I can't.
I think he's really going to thrive now that he doesn't have that guy constantly. Take him out for.
I don't. I think because he's constantly getting hurt, he's not really durable. I mean, Ito Smith.
Last year he went down a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, Ito Smith had a lot of hype. I was a big Ito Smith preacher. I mean, I thought Ito Smith was the second coming of Emmitt Smith for a while, and then the whistle blew, and he hasn't took advantage of the opportunity, and he's been very subpar. So I think if Freeman, like I said, I mean, we're all speculating, but with the history of Freeman, he goes down. Atlanta has nothing in that backfield to take pressure off the passing game. So that's why I've got him finishing third. I mean, you can stifle that offense very easily if Freeman goes down, and then you've got to deal with. Like I said, Carolina's defense has taken a hit. I mean, they used to be a pretty solid defense, and now they're showing their age and have become a lower tier defense than what they used to be. And Tampa Bay
they're also injury prone.
Yeah.
I mean, Tampa Bay. So, I mean, I honestly think Drew Brees. I think this is his last year. I think this is the last year we see Drew Brees. I think going into next year we see Bridgewater as the starting quarterback for the Saints.
Or Taysom Hill.
Yeah, or Taysom Hill.
Well, they're going to keep him on tight end because for some reason he averages 6 touchdowns a year as a tight end.
Tight end, backup quarterback, running back, punt coverage. Yeah. They're just going to have him
He's
listed
just going to
as-
be there.
Yeah, exactly. Just like how the Jaguars tried to create for Shoelace the position offensive weapon, Taysom Hill is just going to be dude.
Yeah, I mean, I still, like, I think what's the problem with the Panthers is their secondary, their front seven is still pretty, I don't want to see them too often. But, like you guys said, I think the bigger question is Cam. What kind of Cam are we going to get? How hobbled is he going to be? But we've seen Cam go out there with leg problems before, and he goes out there and still runs like crazy. But I think what's worrisome is, can he really do that anymore? How many more times can he go out there and take hits and it doesn't really affect him? I think that's going to be a thing for Cam this year. Hopefully they'll go to Will Grier and not Kyle Allen if Cam has to be out games or whatnot. But I could also see them, how Cam is, he'll go even if he's totally injured, and it might hurt the team more than it helps. That's why it's hard for me to see them doing anything but getting in third if it's not like a game behind or a couple games behind Atlanta and New Orleans. Drew Brees is the thing for me that holds it back with New Orleans. We know their defense got better. We know what Drew Brees can do, but that deterioration that we saw towards the end of last season is just a Peyton Manning thing where he might be good for, let's say, less than half the season, and it starts wearing on him even more this season, and that affects the Saints to where they can't keep up. And that might be a problem. So that's why I have Atlanta winning the division so far. And I think we all agree Bucks are last.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for the NFC South. Again, almost anything could happen there. Drew Brees could have a killer season and prove everybody wrong, and New Orleans just runs away with it. So who knows, honestly. The NFC North now, which has been one of those crazy divisions where who knows what's going to happen. The Green Bay Packers have a new system in place for Aaron Rodgers to deal with, and depending on what you read and hear, he either has a problem with it or he's okay with it or whatever. The Bears are wondering who's going to kick for them week 1, considering what happened to them. The Vikings could possibly finally break out, or Kirk Cousins could just be Kirk Cousins again, and they don't do anything. And then you have the Lions, where who knows what's going to happen with Matt Patricia and Matt Stafford.
This is the division I honestly think that I'm going to make you guys really, really take it back and be surprised with my picks, because this is going to be an interesting division for me, because I sing praises of a particular player in this division as being a breakout star this year. And I think that this division also has one of the most overhyped teams this year.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'm going the Chicago Bears winning the division, the Lions finishing second, the Vikings third, and Green Bay being the most overhyped team in the NFL this year, and fourth.
Yeah, that's another one for the parlay.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'll agree that this division, there are question marks with every team, like Sean said. So it's definitely the most up in the air division out of the NFL. But I still think Aaron Rodgers has all the talent. You still have Clay Matthews. You still have that defense. Packers are going to win the division. What?
Do they still have Clay Matthews?
I thought they
No,
did.
Clay Matthews.
No, Clay Matthews is not there anymore.
He's not in Green Bay anymore.
Isn't he in L.A.?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Yeah.
I still think they have enough talent on that team to win. So Green Bay on top, Chicago 2, Detroit 3, Vikings last.
Wow.
Okay, so this is the division that is going to be live for the defense.
Mm-hmm.
The defense being, I think it's going to be interesting. You're not going to have a high scoring team.
Oh no, this is going to be old school NFC North football.
Yeah, and I think with Chicago being that monster that's a midway again, I think they stifle Rodgers. And I hate to say, I think Green Bay's the most overrated team in the NFL this year. Everybody's thinking they're going to be great, and I don't trust Aaron Jones in the backfield. Outside of Devontae Adams, I don't see a legit wide receiver. So,
I will say this.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been looking good.
I agree with you that the Packers are overrated, but I still think they have enough talent to win this division because no other team really sticks out to me. Yes, the Bears' defense is good, but I still don't fully trust Mitchell Trubisky.
You don't
I
have to
say
call up. Shit. I'm trying to think.
They won games with Chase Daniel last.
No, I'm saying the Baltimore quarterback that
Lamar
won.
Jackson, Joe Flacco,
won a Super Bowl.
Trent Dilfer.
Yes, Dilfer. Call up Dilfer and ask him how good he had to be to get a Super Bowl ring when you had that tremendous defense in Baltimore.
Fair enough.
Whoa. I agree, but at the same time, a dude in Baltimore sat on the roof of his house for that entire month until the Ravens scored a touchdown. What immediately happened when Trent Dilfer came into that game and replaced Tony Banks? 3 touchdowns in a quarter. Not to mention, I remember a 96-yard catch and run, I believe, in the playoffs on a 3rd and 18. So, yeah, Dilfer, even though he was Dilfer, he still had to have his moments. Come on now.
See,
I was
that's
in
what I'm
Maryland
saying.
for that season.
Well, Trubisky also still had to have his moments.
Yes, of course.
Trubisky. Okay, let's look at this. Look at all the weapons Trubisky has around him. Okay?
Taylor Gabriel, Cordero Patterson, Allen Robinson,
Anthony Miller, Trey Burton, David Montgomery, Tank Cohen,
Tariq Cohen, yeah. Mike Davis.
Right there. Allen Robinson, solid. Anthony Miller, if he can stay healthy, is a underrated player.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery's going to be a beast there.
Mm-hmm. Gabriel and Patterson are fine.
Trey Burton is a solid tight end as a check down. And I think that he is legitimately, just by volume alone, because of the defenses in that division, he's going to get volume because there's going to be a lot of check downs to the tight end. And Trubisky can just little dink and dunk passes to Burton, passes out of the backfield, open up, you hit one big play to Robinson or Miller, you open games up.
Who does the NFC North play this year?
The East, I think.
Let me see. I had it pulled up a while ago.
Yes, they play the East.
The
NFC East and the AFC West.
Okay. I don't think, and this is a bold statement here, especially with how these teams are going to have to play, and especially with having to play the AFC West, I don't think there's a team in the NFC North that gets more than 9 wins.
They've got a very diverse schedule. They've got NFC South, NFC West, AFC East, NFC, and then they got one NFC East team. God, that's going to be an ugly game. Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place. Their predominant out-of-conference schedule is the NFC West.
NFC East is still the...
And AFC East and NFC West.
I have the Vikings and Lions playing NFC East teams. I don't know what you're looking at here.
The Bears are playing Seattle, Tampa Bay, Miami, the Patriots, the Jets, the Bills, the Giants, the Rams, and the Niners out of conference.
What?
So they play the NFC.
Out of conference. Okay. I'm still...
Maybe I was looking... Let me double check.
Okay, the Bears are playing Chiefs, Cowboys, Giants, Rams.
Okay, here's the Packers schedule. The Packers,
Redskins.
The Packers is playing West, AFC West,
yeah,
NFC,
AFC West and NFC East.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
the other two teams finished at their place in the division, so that's where the other two conference games are coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got the Panthers. The Packers play the Panthers and Giants. Panthers, Giants, and Redskins. Two outside of the.
That's
and the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Yeah, so that's the NFC East, and I think
AFC West.
AFC West, yeah.
AFC West and
like one South
schedule. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they've got one South team.
Yeah, each team has 2 extra games.
Yeah.
2 extra games from the other divisions where you do not play all of the teams that finished in the same place in your division as you did in yours. So since I believe the Packers had a 3rd place schedule, they play everybody in the North twice, the East, the other 2 3rd place NFC teams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so...
Yeah, because there's San Francisco. They play...
So, yeah, considering that, I do not think an NFC North team gets more than 9 wins.
All right. I mean, that's not totally unfair. I'm going to go with... Wait, Eric, did you pick a division?
No, I haven't picked a minor fourth yet. But I'm going to say 3 things about Aaron Rodgers this season. He's going to trouble you for a glass of shut the hell up. He's going to throw a ball over them mountains. And he's going to prove that he was the man all along and they were right to get rid of McCarthy. Now, I am agreeing mostly with Brandon in the fact that this is going to be a slugfest of a division, but I am going to give him, and as an extension, Green Bay, a little bit of credit in saying 10 is going to be enough to win the division.
Okay.
Now, Do I see the Bears taking a step back? Yes. Not because of their defense, especially because Chuck Pagano is there now, but
Yeah, Jesus.
I don't trust Trubisky. Didn't last year. Now that there's film and I haven't seen a lot of improvement, I really don't this year. So I am going to go a little bit Jesus. Because the problem is Matt Patricia, messed up leg and all, he's not going to do much with the Lions. I don't trust Kirk Cousins, and I don't trust Mitchell Trubisky. Good, sweet God, who's going to lose the shit fight? Now I have to think about this.
Yeah.
I think just because of the defense, I think you have to put the Bears over the Vikings and the Lions.
Yeah, I can easily say at maybe 8-8, Bears 2, and then I can say Lions 3, Vikings 4, because I still don't like that.
Sounds about right.
I like what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is so hard because Aaron Rodgers, like you said, has a point to prove right now. And yes, he doesn't have a proven second receiver, even though he's made Geronimo Allison look great these past couple seasons. I believe in Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Jimmy Graham is going to do fine enough. He's still got the line. The defense maybe isn't as really good as it has been, but I think they're going to be good enough. That being said, it's really hard, even though Chuck Pagano is now the defensive coordinator, which I think that makes a lot of difference. Vic Fangio and Chuck Pagano, different. Way different on the I want that defensive coordinator and not the I want that defensive coordinator. Look what he did with the Colts. Blah. So, you know what? Man, honestly, you call me believing the hype or whatever, but I feel like the Vikings have sorely missed Dalvin Cook. And he is on fire. Yes, he could easily fall down and break his leg, and the Vikings are back to being the Vikings of last year. But I think if Dalvin Cook is there, you're opening the field for Kirk Cousins the way he hasn't had the field open for him in a long time, in a while. And we saw how he worked a lot better when the Redskins had Chris Thompson and some other guys to throw to, and Dalvin Cook could also catch the ball out of the backfield. That opens things for Stephon Diggs, for Adam Thielen. That defense is still tremendously good. This is what makes this division hard. Either three of these teams could do the work. Oh my God!
Just ask yourself this: how many marquee games do the Vikings have this year?
A lot.
Like,
this whole division's playing really rough teams. They got some of the hardest schedules.
Okay. All right. Let me rephrase. How many times are the Vikings going to be in primetime standalone games this year? Throw out the 4 o'clock window. Primetime standalone games.
Oh, jeez. Really? You're making me do this right now?
Yes, I'm really making you do this because we all know the statistic.
Okay, so they play the Cowboys on Sunday night. They play the Seattle on Monday night. They play they play the Chargers late in the season and Green Bay. Prime time. They play the Washington and Thursday night.
5.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think, knowing Kirk Cousins' track record, especially in primetime games, standalone games, marquee games, and even those against winning teams, that he wins more than 2? And that's being nice.
He could beat the Redskins.
That's why I say, of those 5 games, do you see him going any better than 2-3?
I can't bet against my own team, so no.
I rest my case.
If they were playing anybody but the Cowboys on that Sunday night game, I would say yes. But
I rest my case. And again, I'm being nice. Who's to say that he doesn't go over, and then what?
I don't know. I just feel like that helps enough. But all right, I'm gonna go Bears and Packers, and Packers make the playoffs.
All
right. So let's do this again. So how many people? Everybody's got the Bears winning, or
no?
You have the Packers.
I think Eric has the Packers winning as well.
I also have the Packers.
So everybody has Packers and Bears out of here? Or, well, no, Jason had Bears and Lions.
And, but then for me, again, I see the Packers winning, but the Bears in finishing second, they are not in the playoffs.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. All right, so here it is. The final division to talk about, the division where 3 people here have 2 teams representing. And we also have the Eagles and Redskins as well, along with the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. Well, one of y'all Giants fans, go ahead and take this, why don't you?
I'll let Brandon speak first.
You want me to talk first? Okay.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. First, let me ask you something, Sean. How's those negotiations going?
It doesn't matter. He's going to play.
You think he's going to play? He's going to come in and play week 1?
Yep. And if he doesn't, he'll be okay enough.
If that's the case, if Ezekiel Elliott plays the whole season, or at least the vast majority of the season, I hate saying this, but it is the Cowboys' division to lose.
I thought we would have a bigger fight than that.
I am going to.
I haven't spoke yet.
The Giants are going to be a lot better than a lot of people are giving them credit for. A lot better than a lot of people are predicting.
Okay, so how quick is Daniel Jones playing? Because with Eli, they're not going anywhere.
Well, that all depends upon what Jason was talking about earlier with this potential trade. If they trade Eli to the Colts, then obviously Daniel Jones.
The Colts are stupid. Why? What, just to have the other Manning, say you had the other Manning play for the Colts too? Because that's the only good reason for me.
Hey, Sean, I understand that you don't know about winning Super Bowls because you haven't won someone since
no,
you've
it's
probably
okay.
been born.
I can also understand when a guy is aging and playing badly, but that's okay.
But they would bring him in for 1 year and help groom their next quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I think Brissett is playing better than Manning right now.
No, two words, Sean, about that whole Colts. Jim Irsay.
Oh, Jim Irsay's an idiot.
Exactly. So
that's the dude that was sitting there begging Andrew Luck to come back 2 seconds after his press conference was over. That dude needs to get a life. All right.
So I don't think anywhere in his alcohol-fueled and God knows what else mind that trade could easily come up.
But
God, if I'm Frank Reich right now, like just fight against it or something.
No, if I'm Frank Reich, if that happens, I'll be like, yeah, I'm out.
I'm done.
Bye.
No, I don't think he would do that. I think, honestly, I would imagine that Frank Reich still has the power over who gets to start at quarterback, so if Eli's fine being a backup, then yeah. But you can't say all the shit that Frank Reich said and then you let Eli walk in there and be the starter.
When you have Jim Irsay as your owner, yes, you do.
But in regards to Daniel Jones, I think if the Giants get off to a really horrible start, 0-2, 0-3, and they're blowouts, and it's Eli's fault and everything, then yeah, week 3, week 4, I could potentially see him come in Do I think he's going to be as amazing as he has been in the preseason? Probably not. He's going to be playing against the first string. He's going to be playing against much stiffer competition. But I think they'll be okay. I could see them getting as maybe even 7 wins if the cards fall correctly. But like I said, I think it's the Cowboys division to lose. The Eagles, the big question mark with them is Nick Foles healthy? Or not Nick Foles, excuse me, Carson Wentz. Is Carson Wentz healthy? Is his spine okay? Is he going to be able to get through a full season? Because I have a feeling come 2 or 3 years down the road, I think Carson Wentz is next. He's going to be the next Andrew Luck. But with that being said, if he can stay healthy, the Eagles could make a run and potentially, make a bid for, either the East or at least a wild card. Giants are going to be after that in the middle of the pack, and then Redskins down at the bottom.
All right, I'm going to go and say the Eagles, then Dallas, then New York, and the Redskins. And I'm going to make this prediction right now to the chagrin of Sean. If Zeke isn't on the field week 1, the Giants win week 1.
Oh, I agree with that.
That pushes Jerry Jones's hand, and a deal gets done. Matter of fact, probably gets done in the locker room after the game. I think the Cowboys. I'm going to go out and say this: Dak is not the answer to the quarterback issue in Dallas.
All right, that's fair.
I don't know what it is about him. He can play great one game and then he disappears for 4.
Isn't that the Cowboys quarterback curse ever since Aikman left, though?
No, I mean Romo.
No, because Romo was always there.
Romo
for
was
December.
Yeah. I mean, he took Christmas early, like right after Thanksgiving. Romo wouldn't show up, and when he did show up, he was at a bakery with all the turnovers he had. But I mean, I'll say this right now. I mean, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I never will be a Cowboys fan. I will never give Cowboys credit until they retire. Romo in the booth is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
He gets to display his football knowledge. Sadly, the biggest anchor that the Dallas Cowboys have is the idiot they have as an owner and general manager. Jerry Jones has become the new Al Davis. He is senile. He doesn't get the current feel of the NFL. That defense, they can show up and show out, or they can not get off the sideline. They play lackluster. I think,
God, you can say that about every freaking team on planet Earth. Get something else.
No, I'm saying when Dallas's defense is on, they're on.
Well, yeah.
But they can't stay healthy. Sean Lee is probably one of the best defensive players.
They played without Sean Lee last year.
I know. I'm saying when he's healthy, him and J.J. Watt are very similar. When they're healthy, they're great. But they can't stay healthy. They always have a nagging injury somewhere. And I think the trend continues is the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, and VHS, and everybody has to go back to VHS tapes to relive a Cowboy Super Bowl win.
My big worry, and this is honestly the only reason why I'm picking the Cowboys, it isn't because of the Cowboys. I think this is going to be another NFC East division that is very mediocre. My big worry is with the Eagles. With Carson Wentz, he has a lot of issues, and unlike in years past where you had Big Dick Nick to back you up, they do not have that security blanket for not if, but when Carson Wentz goes down with another injury.
Oh, come on. Josh McCown's going to come out there and play lights out. Come on.
Because I think, let's see, Nate Sudfeld, he's hurt. Yeah, you're down to a quarterback from a journalism school as your backup, Clayton Thorson. So, yeah. I'm not one to talk because Big Dick Nick is ours, but again, Gardner Minshew, but yeah.
All right, Eric, where are you going in this non-partial situation, I guess?
I'm going to make... there's going to be someone who will be made happy by my prediction. I'm going to say that.
I'm assuming that means that you're picking the Cowboys since you said someone singular.
Yes. I'm not picking them to win the division. I'm actually, even if there might have to be a little hoodoo going on, maybe so that way their fans could shut up for a little while, Wentz stays healthy for just long enough to where the Eagles can break through, win the division. But I've got the Cowboys finishing second, and they are my second wildcard team. I've got the Giants being somewhat mediocre. I think Daniel Jones proves me wrong, especially the second half of the season, and they finished respectable. And the Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, Dwayne Haskins, Jay Gruden dumpster fire that is Washington finishes, yeah. And admittedly, I'm not going to give any love for them until they decide to finally fix up RFK and move back in there.
Oh, God, stop it.
That'll never happen.
Stop it, Eric. Just stop. For one, the Redskins have Eric Flowers. You already know what happens when you have Eric Flowers on your team, so, whatever.
I know this all too well.
So I think, honestly, the Redskins could do better than we think. The issue is Jordan Reed constantly he still has concussions.
I think he just got one walking into the training facility today.
Probably. How quick are they going to start Dwayne Haskins? Case Keenum's fine, but it's like, I worry about. We already know Trent Williams has the issue where he doesn't want to play for this team, so even though Donald Penn is okay, I worry about that too. If Darius Geis can be the Darius Geis that he was gonna be before he got injured, I think that could be a big mover for the Redskins to where maybe they're challenging a bit more because that defense is still pretty good. But I think it's between the Eagles and Cowboys, and honestly, for me, what moves the needle on my end is, even though it's hard for me to say this as a Cowboys fan, I think the Cowboys are going to be much better with Kellen Moore. I think people don't give Kellen Moore enough credit when that first year that Dak was doing well. I think they're going to, this is going to help Dak become a better quarterback because he is going to use Dak way better than Scott Linehan did. I think Zeke will be there. That line will be fine, even though I worry about Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, their back issues, especially Tyron Smith. That's been lingering way too long. At some point, that's going to affect him past this year or even this year. I don't know. It's just something about, like, I feel like at the end of the day, something's going to happen. Maybe it's just me not wanting to pick my team or whatever it is. I feel like the addition of Deshaun Jackson is not something that's not been talked about enough. That's really going to put this Eagles offense on another level. And then you add in Jordan Howard, if he can stay healthy, that brings in a very competent running back to that team for Carson Wentz. You've got Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson to throw to. Plus you add Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, who broke out last year. That's incredible to me. You know, as much as I love Jason Witten, I don't know how much he's going to be Jason Witten. And, you know, this Eagles defense is still really, really good in its own right. So I think the Eagles will go and sneak it by a hair, tie break, whatever you want to call it. The Cowboys make the wild card regardless. Giants in third with Daniel Jones leading them on some kind of late run to make things interesting. And the Redskins at the bottom because we already know Jay Gruden doesn't have a say on that team at all. And yeah, I mean, that's going to be the end of it for us picking divisions. So let's wrap it up here. What, you going to say something, Eric?
Well, I was just going to say is one storyline, not just for this season, but for next season, as far as for the Cowboys. If you pay Zeke, all well and good. But then you've got a choice. You either pay Dak or Amari.
Well, you got to pay them all eventually. You're going to have to pay them all eventually and make cuts somewhere else. I think Dak is going to figure out himself, right? If Dak doesn't play well, you can't go ask for $40 million next season. So he's betting on himself.
He smoked the crack pipe and walked in there and asked for $40 million this season.
Well, he can with the stats he has if he wants to. That's fine, right?
Okay, but realistically, you
wins
ask,
matter.
Yes, wins matter. How many fourth quarter comebacks does the guy have? That's the point, though. Like, the Cowboys have been winning with him.
How many playoff wins does he have?
Doesn't matter. How many playoff wins does Romo have? He still got paid, right?
Okay, but here's the thing. You ask for 40, hoping you get 35. 35 is even out of his damn mind.
Every quarterback now that's going to be number one on that team gets paid more than the guy above him or whatever. That's just how it rolls, man. No player goes in there asking for realistic money.
Ask the Vikings and that $28 million a year fully guaranteed for old Kirk Cousins.
Okay, well,
like that, not after
that's the shit you go through, man. I'm not saying that that's right. Just saying that's what happens in the NFL today. Every freaking position. What's Zeke doing right now? Oh, I want Todd Gurley money. Oh, I want Le'Veon Bell money. Does he deserve it? Yes, but...
And Le'Veon Bell has set a very, very bad precedent that, like we've seen this year, granted, well, we still have two that we don't know about. But I have a feeling that this year and next year, there's going to be a couple of players who are going to say, I'm cool with sitting out and doing what Le'Veon did.
There's also what's going to potentially happen, just like the Rams are resetting the trend with how they're building teams and being a contender, they're damn sure going to set the trend with how teams handle quarterbacks at the end of their rookie contract. And people are going to look at them.
Yeah, well, certainly. Okay, so let's recap just because it's been a 2-hour show, and if people sat through it, God bless you. But let's recap for the people that perhaps got lost in the shuffle for them. So what's your NFC final 6, I guess? Your 4 division winners and your wild cards, just to...
I've got... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick for mine, Rams, Packers, Eagles. I'm still sticking with New Orleans, but just barely. And Niners and Cowboys as my wild cards.
I'm saying Cowboys, Packers, Saints, Rams, Seahawks, and I'm going to say Atlanta.
Division winners. Rams, Bears, Eagles, Saints. The wild cards teams are going to be San Fran and Arizona.
What?
Damn.
Wow.
That's one for the parlay.
Well, there you go, folks. That's your wildest pick you're probably going to hear. Not from this show, but from people picking NFL predictions before the season starts. Okay, so division winners.
All right, since y'all's giving me so much shit, when it comes true, all y'all owe me, an Amazon gift card or something.
No.
Okay.
I owe you an Amazon gift card. You and I are making a separate bet, good sir.
Okay.
I got bigger stakes in mind.
All right. So, division winners, Eagles, Bears, Falcons, and Rams. And then wild cards, Cowboys, and Packers. All right. So, I think Drew Brees winds up showing the age at some point there. So, that's it.
Should we do playoffs at all?
Are we going to go ahead and do playoffs now? Okay.
I wisdom.
Well, might as well. If we've already gone over 2 hours, might as well fucking do it. Okay, so conference championship, Super Bowl, and Super Bowl winner. I'm not going through the whole thing. Jason, go ahead.
Conference championship.
Cardinals and somebody was.
Take a dick. But so I want to say it's going to be the Rams and Saints, NFC. AFC, I'm going to go out and say I want to assume Gordon doesn't end up back with the Chargers. So I'm going to say it's Kansas City and New England, and you're going to get a Rams-Chiefs Super Bowl.
All right. Who wins?
I'm going to say the Rams. I think that's the. I think they get revenge. Like I said, I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have the talent to get there. And like I said, this is going out totally on the Gordon. If Gordon comes back to the Chargers, it changes everything for me. And then I have the Chargers in the Super Bowl versus the Rams. But with him not being there, I think it's the Chiefs to lose. I think that those are the two best teams in the AFC. And they're interchangeable.
All right.
I've got the same as Jason, except for one key switch. NFC, I've got Rams against Saints with the Rams winning. But AFC, I have it Patriots, Chiefs. But Bill Belichick, in his dark ways, somehow manages to pull it off again and make another Super Bowl.
Oh.
But this time, I think the Rams learned from last year. Brady finally starts to show his age in the Super Bowl, and the Rams lay it all.
Ugh. All right, Eric?
I'm going a slightly different road for the NFC because while I like the Saints, especially like winning that division, I think Breeze fades too much down the stretch And I think he runs out of gas in the playoffs. I do have a playoff rematch, though, just a different one. I've got the Rams beating the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game. For the AFC, yes, it's going to be another Chiefs-Patriots. And now this is going to be a catch. If the Patriots get the bye, which I think they will, Tom Brady gets his rest. Even if they had to head back to Kansas City, like Brandon said, just like everybody say how coaches have God's phone number, Belichick has Lucifer on speed dial. Calls him up and says, hey, need one last thing? Got a couple other stuff for you. They pull it off. But if they don't get the bye and Brady doesn't get that rest, then I can see the Chiefs getting there. But considering it's Belichick, one of our Lords of Darkness, I can't go against him as badly as I. And I am going to say it's going to be a repeat Rams-Patriots Super Bowl. But I also agree the Patriots have a bit of a hoodoo in Miami. Sean McVay, Wade Phillips, they're going to get some Dolphins players along the sidelines just staring right at them. Brady's going to have some bad flashbacks, and the Rams take it.
Damn.
If it works for Don Shula, it can work for McVay.
Everybody's just picking the Rams. I feel. Okay. Shoot.
Don't think of it as we're picking the Rams. Think of it as we're picking against the Patriots. It could be wrong, but damn it, we want to.
We know we ought not to, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pick Patriots and Chiefs because those are the two best teams in the AFC. Until the Patriots and Tom Brady's ageless wonder of his body proves, and Bill Belichick's mind prove otherwise right now. And also because every time the Patriots play the Chargers, it just doesn't work out. So, the NFC is rough, man. Man, jeez. I kind of want to go with, even though I didn't pick them to win the division, I feel like I'm assuming Zeke won't sit out the whole year if he doesn't get signed because he can't go on to the next year of his contract. So he will play at some point, whether he gets a contract or not. And I don't really believe in that whole. I think the Cowboys are going to play well enough. It's going to stack it against Zeke, where he's got to sit there and think that, shit, what have I got myself into? But I think either way, I think Jerry's just going to give him the deal because he doesn't want to deal with it. I don't think it's because they're going to be losing games necessarily. I think it's more about he's going to give him the deal because he feels like it's right, and that's what Jerry does. I think we're going to get a rematch of the Cowboys and Rams, and this year the Cowboys get vengeance, but the Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
All right.
Fair.
So it's either
Just
Chiefs
my
or
God,
Rams who are winning the Super Bowl.
I don't want to see the Patriots win the Super Bowl again.
I don't want to see the Patriots win the Super Bowl again, but
when I don't know. I just feel like at some point Tom Brady's got to come down from that perch. Like, jeez. And they lost what is it? Their center that they lost. That is a huge. That's the center. That's a huge piece of that offensive line.
Sean, we've got Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. I don't know what sort of secret society triad that they formed outside of Boston, but damn it, it's worked. And it's going to keep working until one of them bows out. And hell,
sure.
if you've got Robert Kraft even pulling a me and getting away with it, with his whole things with massage parlors, come on. If that was me, you see my ass in handcuffs on the damn news.
All right, it's almost 12. And
That's only because you're black.
That's not correct. I do not deny that.
All right, it's almost 12 on the East Coast, and a certain someone is probably staring a hole in me like this took way too long. So, because I'm in her room right now doing this, I'm sure she wants to go to bed. So, and I'm sure the rest of you guys also want to go to bed. So, that's
I know what that's for.
So, anyway, let's move on to, hey, we did everything in one show, so that means on Wednesday night, God help us out so Harry can be back. If not, I guess I'll be doing this again. Previewing week 1 of the NFL season and talking about, and also previewing week 2 of college football, talking about, I guess, some college football that's happened and whatever else has been going on in the NFL until that point, with the regular format, which I'm sure all of you guys that listen to the show will be very happy to hear once again, because that's what makes this show great, is this format that they got and the guys that do it every week. So until Wednesday night, Thursday morning for the on-demand listeners, we'll see you later, everybody.
Peace.